Right in the middle of producing part 2 of this series, YouTube terminated Chris McDonough's channel for multiple or severe violations of harassment, bullying, or threatening. His followers went spastic. They blamed others but not McDonough for his own actions. This video will address the termination and reinstatement of Chris McDonough, how he falsely accused an innocent Twitter user, how he manipulated his followers, how he directed his followers to harass, bully, and threaten innocent social media users, and the legal ramifications of his reinstatement. We start with the amount of money McDonough was making from YouTube subscriptions and views. This does not include the astronomical amount of profit made from super chats and memberships. September 8, 2021, McDonough had approximately 10,000 subscribers with 1.5 million monthly views. 1.5 million times 0.004 equals $6,000 monthly income. As his subscribers and/or his views increase, so does the monthly income. Now, we will demonstrate one clear way in which McDonough manipulates his followers. He tells his followers they will analyze quote together unquote. Then, he states he will not be paying attention to the chat. This gives his viewers the false sense that his opinions are their opinions and that they had a part in the analyzing. He does this so subtly that his followers are unaware of what just happened. Please keep in mind, McDonough is a master manipulator. He has made his entire career from manipulating. It is not illegal for a detective to lie to individuals. It is common practice in investigations.
And what we're going to do is, together, we're going to analyze a lot of tweets. So what I'm not going to focus on right up front is, unfortunately, the chat, okay? Because I'm going to be really focused here tonight to show where I think the evidence is taking us.
He states, he will show where he thinks the evidence is taking quote us unquote. He's reinforcing that his idea of evidence is their idea of evidence and no one should question it. He is the only one capable of determining evidence, right? After all, he's the expert, right? Even though early in his career, a $7.2 million lawsuit was won against his bad evidence. The judge stated that the three boys were factually innocent, which is rare for a judge to state. To this day, McDonough has not admitted to his flawed interrogation tactics pertaining to the Michael Crow case.
The interrogation of Michael Crow was highly coercive and confrontational.
Just tell us what happened. You keep asking me questions I can't answer. What do you want me to do?
Michael Crow is 14 years old, and he's recently learned that his sister, who he loves dearly, is dead.
I haven't lied to you.
He's told them repeatedly he didn't do this. They keep accusing him. They've been in this room with him for many hours.
The detective tells Crow he has a choice of two paths. If he doesn't confess, he'll be punished in an adult prison. If he does confess, he will get help. This is a lie.
There's two paths to travel. There's the path of punishment, or there's the path that says, hey, I'm sorry for what I did.
There's the path toward rehabilitation. If he makes the confession they're looking for that he killed his sister.
Guys, we need to go down a path where we're going to help you work this problem out.
And his repentance will mean that he's not criminally charged or punished. If he doesn't, then he will go to a hardcore juvenile prison.
This two paths lie is an attempt to force Crow into confessing to the murder of his sister. Lies used in this highly coercive manner increase the risk of a suspect making a false confession. Another common tactic used in coercive interrogations is a sustained attack on a suspect's memory.
I don't remember what I did. I'm trying to tell you. You say I did it.
He's trying to tell them he has no memory, but they've beaten him down. He's crying. They're accusing him of selective memory.
I don't know.
And they're just coming back at him relentlessly.
I can't remember means I can't remember. I can't remember selectively is a little bit different.
And here they're trying to explain to him how he could have done this in the absence of having any memory, because he keeps saying, I didn't do it, I don't have any memory of this.
I think there's two parts to Michael.
There's a good Michael, and there's a bad Michael. And the good Michael would never hurt or kill his sister. The bad Michael did it out of conscious awareness.
You're right, it's unconscious, but if I'm the good Michael right now, then the other is completely submerged. I can't remember.
What's really going on, though, here is that this is nothing short of child abuse. And he's having a breakdown. He's crying. He is psychologically tortured. This is a painful scene to watch. This is an egregious interrogation. Absolutely awful interrogation.
The guy on the right in the interrogation is Chris McDonough. This was the same manipulation McDonough used on his YouTube followers in a milder but just as effective form. Implying, if you agree with me, you're one of the good guys. And, if you disagree with me, you're a troll and need to be chastised, berated, embarrassed, harassed, bullied, threatened, and doxxed. Good Michael gets help, but bad Michael gets punished.
My reaction was that they ripped out Michael Crow's heart on camera. It was the most horrible interrogation I've ever watched because of what they did to that child.
And the reason you have not heard directly from the police or district attorney in this story is because they have refused to comment on this case since the families of the teenage defendants filed a federal lawsuit against them. The suit seeks compensation for the harm done to their sons by illegal interrogations and the resulting false confessions. A year earlier, on the same night Stephanie was murdered, neighbors of the Crow family had complained to police about the intrusive behavior of a transient. Richard Raymond Tuitt, 28, was knocking on neighbors' doors looking for an old girlfriend.
This was such a strong DNA result that you could rule out anybody who ever walked on the planet Earth as a donor of this blood, except Stephanie Crow.
And Stephanie's blood on Tuitt's shirt seems set in a splatter pattern, one consistent with a violent stabbing. On the same day the case is dismissed, Detective Chris McDonough calls into this radio show to defend his role in the interrogation process.
I did not wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and sit down and say, you know what, today's the day I'm going to plant
and frame Joshua Treadway for murder.
Well, I don't
That's
think that anybody,
ridiculous.
Detective McDonough, I don't think anybody is saying that this is
secondarily,
born
on top
of
of that,
hostility
if
rather
I
than
may finish,
stupidity.
McDonough would strike another YouTube content creator's channel for copyright violation just to obtain their personal information to be able to dox them. This way he could get their information without a search warrant and without probable cause. McDonough was in his glory not being required to prove to a judge probable cause. Doxing is publishing private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. McDonough did not stop there. He would run a background check and contact his buddies in the FBI. Also, McDonough created a Discord account named Trolls to obtain IP addresses for individuals that he could not claim copyright violations on. Then, he could obtain their information by their IP address. Notice how Steve Johnson smirks when McDonough says, quote, because it gives you a place to vent, unquote.
If you're new to my channel, I have something just for you if you're trolls. Okay? It's my Discord channel. I actually have a room over there that you can go over there and, just throw it everywhere you want. Okay, I'm good with that because it gives you a place to vent. Okay, and also I keep people saying, well, how come you turn off your comments? Because I don't think it's fair to Summer. Okay? That you get an opportunity as a sociopath to sit behind your keyboard and blast away at a 5-year-old little girl who's missing.
Steve Johnson very well knows McDonough is lying about the purpose of his Discord account. McDonough turned off his comments on his videos so his followers would not learn the truth about any of his wrongdoings and to encourage anyone that didn't agree with him to go into his Discord so he could obtain their IP address. It had absolutely nothing to do with Summer Wells. Then, he proceeds to call anyone that has an opinion that doesn't match his a sociopath. Steve Johnson laughs at that. And, every viewer knows if they say the wrong thing, McDonough will deem them a sociopath. And, Steve Johnson will help chastise them.
And mods, if you can kind of take a look at some of these folks who are just, firing away, that's okay that they do, because that's the other reason I turn off the replay chat, so you just kind of become anonymous, as that guy says, right? You just go away. And like we said in the beginning, guilt or innocent it's not our responsibility, and nor will it ever be.
I agree with McDonough about his statement on guilt or innocence. He has no concern about innocence. We saw this in the Michael Crow interrogation. McDonough is out for convictions, not justice. Guilt, innocence, and justice doesn't play a part with him obtaining a conviction. It's scary that he was in our justice system for 40 years. Do you honestly think McDonough really cares about Summer Wells when he has no concern about guilt, innocence, and justice? Do you honestly think McDonough really cares about Summer Wells when he had no concern for innocent 14-year-old Michael Crow? McDonough targeted an innocent Twitter account, and that was the final blow of why his channel was terminated by YouTube. McDonough claimed the Twitter account was Brian Laundrie of the Gabby Petito case. He harassed, bullied, threatened, and attempted to dox the innocent Twitter user.
Now, this slide is addressed to Mr. Anonymous. You see, what hasn't happened here so far is we have a gentleman saying it's not him, so he's anonymous. Okay? So I don't know who Mr. Anonymous is yet. Okay? I'm following the evidence. The evidence speaks for itself currently. So please, Mr. Anonymous, don't send me an email from an encrypted end-to-end email server out of Switzerland and expect me to believe you. I'm just asking, why don't you just come out of the shadow, present your true identity, and prove you own the account?
McDonough admits he does not know the identity of the person that the Twitter account belongs to. He claims that it's evidence the account belongs to Brian Laundrie. McDonough wants the Twitter account user to prove to McDonough who he is. It's none of McDonough's business. McDonough has no authority.
If you're a former law enforcement officer, like you say you are, then I'm going to ask you to please call the FBI and have them call me. You haven't given me your true identity in terms of your ID number and your agency that I'm aware of, okay, that you said you worked at. Okay. Because of that, I feel that maybe, people are wondering about you, why you haven't fully been transparent.
No one on social media is obligated to be transparent to McDonough. McDonough is not above the law. Cyberbullying is a crime in most all states in the U.S. Yet, McDonough continues to goad the Twitter user into doxing himself to the world. McDonough's cyberbullying backfired and he was terminated from YouTube.
Okay. And what I want you to do tonight is collectively think through what you're going to see here tonight. Okay? And as we go through this, I want you to notice, a couple of things. I want to hear your opinions.
Quote, as we go through this, unquote, and, quote, I want to hear your opinions, unquote. McDonough, did you forget that you said you were not going to pay attention to the chat? Did you forget you turned off comments on your videos? Did you forget how many videos you chastised and berated your viewers in for having an opinion? Remember your Discord? Now, we will continue with McDonough's harassment, bullying, and threats of the innocent Twitter user.
Today I was, supposed to, all the other videos were supposed to come down. Well, they're not. They're still there. Go look at them.
Nope, they're not there. The other videos about the Twitter user were not up at the time he posted his video stating they were. Notice how he stuttered through that lie. McDonough proceeds to pick apart every tweet of the innocent Twitter user's account trying to prove to his followers that the account belongs to Brian Laundrie. And, he attempts to psychologically evaluate the Twitter user as having mental issues.
Okay. About RVs. Okay. So it looks like he's traveling, or this person is traveling. Okay. August 12th, 3:36. Don't let an inanimate object control your mental health. Never. So that is what I'm seeing as potentially the first indication that this individual is having potentially behavioral issues with, psychology.
Further, McDonough repeatedly tries to demonstrate throughout his video that the time of day the user chooses to tweet means that he is Brian Laundrie and that he has mental issues.
And you're going to notice a very succinct pattern here. Okay? You're going to see that these tweets go from afternoon to early morning to afternoon to early morning consistently.
McDonough subtly implies that the Twitter user is an alcoholic because he tweeted the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer is a prayer written by the American theologian Reinhold Niebuhr. Niebuhr composed the prayer in 1932-33. The prayer was adopted by Alcoholics Anonymous. It was, also, used in the 1944 Book of Prayers and Services for the Armed Forces. Notice how McDonough does not refer to the prayer as the Armed Forces Prayer, or, even, the Alcoholics Anonymous Prayer, but simply as the Alcoholics Prayer. Then he says, quote, right, unquote, to manipulate viewers into agreement.
On the 17th, at 12:21, serenity, courage, wisdom. Post pictures that say, God grant me serenity. This is the, alcoholic's prayer, right?
In the next clip, he accuses the Twitter user of being stressed, having control issues, and anger issues with absolutely no proof.
Follow your peace. And he posts a picture, the person posts a picture of a dove. Now, I'm starting to get a picture of somebody who is extremely stressed to the max here, to the max. Okay? They're starting to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2:24 in the morning on the 22nd. Control your words and your thoughts. Those in control feel free and joyful and are humble and do not exalt themselves. Is he having a control issue? Is he having or she having anger issues?
In the next clip, the Twitter user tweets about respect and refers to someone that doesn't respect you, but demands respect from you, as a narcissist. That a narcissist has low self-esteem, are usually bullies, and feeds their ego by trying to make others feel less than. The first thing McDonough does is try to prove he's not a narcissist. He's not a narcissist because his wife says so. Kind of in the same way a racist tries to prove they are not a racist by saying, because I have a black friend. Many people disagree with McDonough. They see narcissistic traits.